Isn't Berenstain Bears such a great kids franchise? Wrong! I'm going to convince you that the MCU is a nightmare that the Berenstain Bears are having, and once you hear it, you will never be able to look at a bear the same way again. Hello. When I was a kid, like a lot of people, I used to always love bears and Berenstain Bears. Berenstain Bears is a successful book series starting in 1962 by Stan and Jan Berenstain and now run by their son Mike, and I got a cartoon in 1985 and another in 2002. I just got word that I'm going to make a theory about it. So you all know the concept of Berenstain Bears, right? There's a family of bears that live in a tree, and they're just like you and me, but they live in a tree. And you also know the concept of the MCU. I hope you do, because I'm not explaining it here. Now, what got me to start this theory was I was just looking at this Berenstain Bears book, and looking at this part of the book. Now, this might not look so weird so far, but look at Papa Bear's hat in the picture. It's a slightly darker shade of brown than normal. Still don't believe me? That's not where my investigation ends. After seeing that, I flipped through a page in the book and saw this. Now, I know what you're thinking after I showed you this picture. What the heck am I looking at? And to answer that question, as you can see in the book, you can see Brother Bear. And you're probably saying that's like the only thing on this page that looks like Berenstain Bears. And you'd be wrong, because there's also a forest. And as the part of this that I really need to talk about is, see the guy in the middle there with the blue shirt? Yes, if you look at the previous page I showed you, and look at the legs and the pose, it's the exact same pose as the guy in the middle. Now I know what you're probably saying. That's because you put it like that. And also, that's Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. And to that I say none of those are true. That is not Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. That is actor Jim Parsons playing some kind of mafia boss, I guess. In this children's picture book. Since he's the closest to Brother Bear, that means he's trying to kidnap him. Now, you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with the MCU being a nightmare? In fact, how would the MCU even be a nightmare? I wish my dreams were like that. Now, don't jump to conclusions, because if you look at this next page, what do you notice at first? You probably answer that question with some guy's desperate attempt to be funny. And you'd be wrong. Just listen closely to what he says here. Like the subscribe button. Wow, that's just crazy. This tells us a few things about the whole story of Berenstain Bears. For one, Brother Bear loves comic books, which could lead him to having a nightmare about the MCU. Another thing is that he has a lot of trauma for what happened long ago by being kidnapped by that mafia boss. Meaning he could have a form of stress-induced nightmares, which is a thing that happens through trauma. My theory is that Tony Stark is a separate personality from Brother Bear after the trauma of being kidnapped by the mafia. Still don't believe me? Here's some evidence from Season 1, Episode 6 of The Avengers, titled Assemble. It starts off normal, until Iron Man says this.
Avengers, assemble! Assemble?
Now that's strange, because that's normally a line said by Brother Bear, which means that they must be one in one way or another. Another piece of evidence is on this page of the book from earlier. Now, where is he in this picture, and why? Well, the most important thing here to tell is the apple he's holding. An apple is a round edible fruit and the most widely grown species in the genus Malus, a genus with 32 to 57 species of small deciduous trees or shrubs in the family of Rosaceae, known for their fruit, aka apples. The most well-known species is Malus domestica, aka the domestic apple. Mollusk trees are widely cultivated for their fruit and ornamental value, with flowers that can be white, pink, or red and are typically fragrant. The trees produce small to medium-sized fruits varying in color, taste, and texture, and are a significant agricultural product worldwide. The flowers are borne in corymbs, or a flower cluster with stalks of varying length that form a flat or slightly rounded surface with outer flowers blooming first. And mollusks have 5 petals and are perfect in plant reproduction terms anyways, with usually red stamens that produce copious pollen and a half-inferior ovary. Flowering occurs in spring after 50 to 80 growing degree days, varying greatly according to subspecies and cultivar. The word apple, whose Old English ancestor is apel, spelled like that, is descended from Proto-Germanic noun aplas, descended in turn from Proto-Indo-European that. As late as the 17th century, the word also functioned as a generic term for all fruits, including nuts. This can be compared to the 4th century Middle English expression apple of paradis, meaning a banana. Apples have been used as a religious symbol for a while, such as Adam and Eve's forbidden fruit, usually illustrated as an apple. Anyways, looking at the apple here, it is clearly an Australian Red Delicious, so that tells us where he is. Because the Red Delicious apple is a type of apple first recognized in Madison County, Iowa. It currently comprises 50 cultivars. It was the most produced cultivar in the United States from 1968 to 2018, when it was surpassed by Gala. Now I know what you're saying. Stop! I know it's Australia. It's an Australian apple. Just stop the apple propaganda. I do not care. Now hold your horses there, bucko. Bears are not native to Australia and never have been. Now I know what you're saying. So, is it impossible for a bear to go to Australia? He is scared. He could run to Australia to get away from this mafia. What am I saying? Yes, but don't you think Brother Bear would run to somewhere with more bears? Now, how many bears are in Iowa's discovery area of Red Delicious? Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways, speaking of red, do you know what else is red? Iron Man. Even further, do you know what else is red? Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn fights Batman. You know what else fights Batman? Two-Face. Two-Face has a split personality. You know what else split personality? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And in 2017's The Mummy, Dr. Jekyll was played by Russell Crowe, who also played Zeus in Thor: Love and Thunder, which takes place in the MCU, which was started by Iron Man. By the way, I was only saying all of that so my thumbnail looks cooler. So in summary, Brother Bear was kidnapped by a mafia boss because his father couldn't pay him enough, which developed into a dissociative identity disorder, which turns him into Robert Downey Jr. and saves the world. Now I know what you're saying. Where did the rest of his family go? Well, let me think. In Captain America Civil War, it reveals that a brainwashed Bucky Barnes, a Winter Soldier, killed Iron Man's parents. My theory is that he must have been hired by the mafia boss because he found out about Brother Bear thinking that he was Iron Man. Then you know the drill by now. I assume he gets rich. Because funeral donations. The Berenstain Bears appear to be pretty popular in their town, so I assume a lot of people would be attending the funeral and would pay their respects. So after being rich, he believed himself to be Iron Man as a form of escapism to escape his real life. He grows up and makes more money, which leads to the MCU, where he meets other heroes with similar trauma, and then sacrificed his life and saved the world. And wait, I have my strongest piece of evidence right here. If you still don't believe me after all of this, then you must believe me now. I want you to watch this clip.
Well, have you got any more bright ideas?
I know what. Let's go out and take turns twisting each other up on the swing and see who gets the dizziest.
That's a dizzy idea.
Dr. Doom. See how How in the world can you disprove such darning evidence? But hey, go ahead and smash that, wife of yours. Hit the gym once and... Wait. Why did Brother Bear / Tony Stark say Dr. Doom there? Dr. Doom. That's a little strange of him to say, right? Wait. In Hello Kitty and Friends Super Cute Adventures, Season 7, Episode 4, Kuromi says this.
Doomsday? Oh.
Oh my gosh, Tony Stark is Dr. Doom, which means that Dr. Doom is Brother Bear. Brother Bear wants to destroy the multiverse. Believe me!